All right, strap in, everyone, because today we're going deep, deep into Ragnarok.
Ooh, Ragnarok. Always a good time.
Always a good time. Yeah, so today it's Rune Midgard's and the Schwarzwald Republic. Two pretty different places, but with some serious overlap.
Yeah, Rune Midgard's, you've got those 7 royal families, all that history, prophecies, and the ritual of blessing to pick their king. It's very much about holding on to the past, right?
Right, and then you've got Schwarzwald, all about the future, the technology, like they've got airships now, and these crazy powerful guardians, like stronger than any human.
Yeah, the guardians. And that's where it gets interesting, the tension between tradition and progress, because Rune Midgard's is facing this apocalyptic prophecy about Surt.
Yes, Surt, the fire giant, wants to destroy everything.
And Schwarzwald is dealing with the fallout of their own creations, like those guardians I mentioned. So it's like both societies are wrestling with forces they don't fully understand.
Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster, right? Like when those two worlds collide.
Right. Exactly. And then you add in someone like Wolfchev.
Oh, yeah. Wolfchev. Talk about a dark side to all that progress.
Yeah.
This guy was running the Regenschirm laboratory, the biolabs.
Yeah.
And the things he was doing.
Yeah, the sources we have on him are pretty disturbing. He was obsessed with life and death, immortality, pushing the limits, even messing with Ymir's heart, the heart of the world itself.
Wait, hold on. Ymir's heart, he was experimenting with that. That's like the origin of everything, right?
Yeah, and the lengths he went to, the experiments, there were reports of missing people.
It's pretty dark stuff. And you said cannibalism in our notes earlier.
We'll get to that later, but yeah, it paints a pretty grim picture of what happens when ambition goes unchecked.
Okay, I'm already creeped out. So what was Reichenberg's role in all this? Did they know?
That's where it gets tricky. I mean, Reichenberg, they're the ones behind all the cool tech, the steam engine, the airship.
They sound amazing on paper.
But Wolfchev's story shows there's a darkness there too. Like, how much did they know about his experiments? Did they enable him?
Right, because they're all about progress, right? At what cost?
Exactly. And then remember the missing king of Rune Midgard's?
Oh, yeah. Didn't some investigators end up at Wolfchev's lab while looking for him?
Yeah. Saren Windsor, Katrin Kiran, and Arine's Guile stumbled right into that nightmare.
Oh, man.
And what they found there suggests there's a deeper conspiracy, one that goes all the way to the top of Reichenberg, a company that pretty much controls the Schwarzwald Republic, by the way.
So you've got a mad scientist, horrific experiments, and a possible conspiracy involving the most powerful corporation in the Republic. This is starting to feel like a thriller movie or something.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack. And as we dig deeper into these sources, we'll uncover more about what Reichenberg was really up to, how far Wolfchev went, and what it all means for the fate of these two worlds. Like, on one side, you have Rune Midgard's holding on to their traditions, trying to appease the gods, keep everything stable with that ritual of blessing.
Trying to prevent Ragnarok, basically.
Right. But then Schwarzwald is charging headfirst into the unknown, and not always with the best results, right? We've got those guardians running around, Wolfchev doing his thing.
Yeah, speaking of Wolfchev, those biolabs.
Yeah.
What was he even trying to achieve there? Was it just morbid curiosity, or was there some a larger goal?
Well, from the sources, it looks like Reichenberg was really interested in pushing human limits. They were looking into genetic manipulation, extending lifespan, even artificial intelligence.
And probably thought Wolfchev was the guy to get them there.
Yeah, and they probably thought that he was the key. But somewhere along the line, it seems like things took a dark turn.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, they were creating guardians.
Yes.
Artificial humans, basically. That's way past dark turn territory.
It really makes you think about how far is too far. Where do you draw the line between progress and just messing with things you shouldn't?
And it's a slippery slope for sure.
Yeah.
And where does that leave the people, the citizens of both Rune Midgard's and Schwarzwald? They didn't ask for giant robots and immortality experiments.
Right. And the sources, they hint at some growing unrest. In Rune Midgard's, there's all this fear about Surt's prophecy, and maybe the ruling family isn't doing enough.
And probably blaming them for all this bad stuff happening.
Exactly. And then in Schwarzwald, I imagine people are a bit freaked out about what Reichenberg's been up to.
I mean, who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
Creating an army of super soldiers, it's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, and there's mention of this mercenary rebellion. They fought back against Reichenberg using those guardians. So there's definitely pushback, even within Schwarzwald.
So it's like everyone's fighting everyone else.
Yeah, in a way, it's not just one big conflict. It's all these smaller ones bubbling up too.
Man, this is more complicated than I thought.
It's what makes it fascinating, though, right? It's not just good versus evil. There are so many layers, so many different motivations.
Right, and you never know who to trust.
Exactly. And that brings us to the investigators. Remember, they stumbled upon Wolfchev's lab and uncovered this whole conspiracy.
Yeah. What happened to them after that?
Well, from what we can gather, Reichenberg tried to discredit them, tried to make it seem like they were lying, protect their image.
Classic. So did they succeed?
Not entirely. The sources mention that the biolabs were shut down, sealed off.
Oh, wow. So they did get some kind of justice.
Yeah, but Reichenberg's still out there, still powerful.
So they got away with it, basically. Just shut down the lab and everyone forgot.
Well, not everyone. The sources mention that the lab became known as the Tomb of the Fallen, like a reminder of what happened there.
Oh, wow. That's pretty haunting.
It is. And some people say Wolfchev continued his work in secret, maybe even with Reichenberg's support.
Oh, come on. That's messed up. They just let him keep going.
It's not confirmed. It's just rumors. But it shows how deeply Reichenberg is involved in all this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you can just create an army of robots and expect no consequences. What about the people who spoke out against them? The ones who, tried to do the right thing?
The sources say they faced some backlash from Reichenberg. Threats, attempts to ruin their reputations.
But they didn't give up.
Not from what we can tell. It seems they went into hiding or maybe even formed their own group to oppose Reichenberg.
Like a resistance? That's pretty cool.
It is, and it shows that even in the face of such power, there are people willing to fight back.
Gives me a little bit of hope,
Me too. It's a reminder that even when things seem really dark, there's always that spark of resistance, that hope for change.
So what's next? Where do we go from here? Is there any light at the end of this tunnel?
Well, the sources mention this group, the Guardians of Yggdrasil.
Wait, Yggdrasil?
Yeah.
Like the World Tree. They sound important.
They do. And there's not much information, but it seems like they're dedicated to protecting Midgard, keeping balance,
Maybe they could stop Reichenberg.
Yeah.
Or Wolfchev. Or Surt.
Maybe. It seems like they only act when things are really dire. And, things are getting pretty dire.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So is there any hope for these two worlds? For Rune Midgarts and Schwarzwald?
It's hard to say, but the fact that there are people fighting back, that there might be these guardians out there, it means it's not over yet.
Right. It's not a happy ending, but it's not the end.
Exactly. And that's what makes this so compelling. It's a story that's still being written. And, we'll have to see what the next chapter holds.
It's like one part of me is in awe of what they're doing at Schwarzwald, like airships. That's amazing. But then
you see what it cost, right?
Yeah, like what's the point of all this progress if it's built on suffering and exploitation?
It's like they forgot about the people involved. Like with Wolfchev, he was so focused on his goals, immortality and all that, that he lost sight of basic human decency.
He really is the poster child for science gone wrong.
Right. Exactly. And it's not just him. It's a pattern we see in Rune Midgards too. Like those royal families, they're so obsessed with power that they might be missing the bigger picture.
Yeah, like Surt could be knocking on their door and they're too busy fighting over who gets to sit on the throne.
It's like everyone's lost sight of what really matters. And the thing is, Wolfchev's story, it's not just some isolated incident. It's connected to everything else that's happening in Ragnarok.
Okay, so how does he fit into this whole apocalyptic puzzle?
Well, remember Ymir's heart.
Yeah, the heart of the world, the thing Wolfchev was messing with.
Right. The sources suggest that he was obsessed with controlling its power. Imagine if someone could manipulate the very essence of life itself.
That's a terrifying thought. No wonder Reichenberg was interested.
Yeah, it seems like they saw him as their ticket to ultimate power. They gave him resources, funding, even test subjects.
They were playing a dangerous game.
They definitely were. And, we saw how that turned out, right? The biolabs were a testament to what happens when you prioritize ambition over ethics.
Yeah, it's a pretty stark warning, for sure.
Yeah.
So what can we, like the average listener, learn from all this?
Well, I think it's a reminder that progress isn't always a good thing. We need to think critically about the technology being developed, about who's in control, and what their motives are.
Right. We can't just blindly trust that science will always be used for good.
Exactly. We need to ask questions, demand transparency, and make sure that the people in power are held accountable.
It's like we all have a role to play in shaping the future.
Absolutely. We can't just sit back and let things happen. We need to be engaged, informed, and willing to speak up.
So what's the final takeaway? Is there hope for these worlds?
Mm-hmm.
Can they overcome all these challenges?
The future's always uncertain, but I think there's reason to be optimistic. As long as there are people willing to fight for what's right, to challenge the status quo, then there's always hope.
Okay, I like that. So even though we've uncovered some pretty dark stuff today, it's not all doom and gloom.
Exactly. There's still hope. And, well, I think that's a good place to leave things, don't you?
Yeah. I'm definitely feeling a lot to think about. And probably a few nightmares about Wolfchev.
Yeah, he's definitely nightmare fuel.
All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Ragnarok. It's been a wild ride, but hopefully you'll learn something along the way.
And if you're feeling inspired to learn more, there are tons of resources out there. Go explore.
Keep asking questions. Keep those brains buzzing. And we'll see you next time.